At the very end of the section 1-2 notes for AP statistics, we were talking about a graph called a histogram. Now the histogram, and you can look at mine that I drew, and it's not super attractive. The histogram, one of the benefits is that they're good when you have large data sets. Now, in this case, we didn't have a large data set. We had an n size of 20, okay? But if you can imagine, if this is an n size of 200, this whole idea of making tally marks and counting up frequencies would be super tedious. So it might feel a little bit tedious to enter the data into a calculator, but it's still better than doing it by hand, okay? So what I'm going to do is show you on a TI-Nspire how to make a histogram. If you look at my Inspire screen, you can see that I've just cleared all my memory. So I'm starting brand new. If you press New Document and yours asks if you want to save a document, well, that's going to be up to you. Do you have one open that you want to save? Well, then you better save it. Now, in this case, we're going to start with add a list or spreadsheet. So you're going to have what looks like an Excel spreadsheet. You have to name your column. I'm just going to call mine C for cost. And you can generally choose almost anything you want for the name. But if you choose some sort of an abbreviation, every once in a while it'll happen that you might just coincidentally choose something that is already used in the calculator. For example, and I'm making this up, but maybe EXP is already used for exponent somewhere in the programming of the calculator. It might not let you do it. If you ever arrow down and it gives you an error message, you got to choose a different name. So arrow down until you're out of that gray bar. Don't worry about the gray bar right now. We'll use that another day. For right now, what we're going to do is we're going to enter all of this data in one column. Do not make the mistake of separating this into two columns, because just because I formatted this as 10 rows and 2 columns, I could have made it a 5x4, okay? You have to enter this all in one data set. So $1.45, enter $1.25, $1.32, 99 cents. And you can go as fast as you want, as fast as you can, but I would just caution you to kind of keep an eye on your document and make sure that you're entering the numbers correctly. If you're just a little off, it's not a big deal. Like, for example, if you typed in $1.23 instead of $1.32, it's probably not going to make a big deal. But for example, right now I'm typing in 0.78. If I accidentally type that in as 7.8, okay, that's going to make a big difference. So be very careful, watch your typing, and I think I'm good. Now on the very last one, you have to hit enter. Even though we know the n size was 20, and you're like, hey, but I'm on row 20. You have to hit enter. You should now be on row 21 because otherwise the calculator has not registered row 20 yet. All right, so we're going to assume that I have all my data entered in correctly. So now we're going to choose to add a new page. So right there it says plus page. So control, add a page. This time we're going to add data and statistics. Now you get a whole bunch of dots all over and down at the bottom. So move your mouse until it says click to add a variable. There it is. I called it C. And it makes a dot plot for you automatically. How nice is that? So you can see the scale doesn't even look close to what we were doing. But okay. So then I'm going to do menu, plot type. Histogram is option 3. And all it's going to do is take that dot plot and draw rectangles around them. Stretches them out and draws rectangles. Now, again, that doesn't even look close to what we had done by hand, okay? Now, you don't want to do it by hand first and then do it on a calculator. The whole idea is to use the calculator so that you don't have to do it by hand. You probably still need to have an idea that you might say, but I know the cheapest card was 52 cents. I know the most expensive card was $3.85. So you almost still have to have that 50 cents up to $4 in your head. You almost have to kind of have a plan for the bottom scale. Because what I'm going to do now, and this is different on the 84, okay? So fact is, the first time I did this, I messed it up. And I ended up on a website called mathbits.com to figure out how to set up the scale on a histogram. So menu, And we can do plot properties, histogram properties, and bin settings. Now, we had kind of planned it out down here that we knew the bins were going to be about 50 cents wide. And alignment, we had kind of planned it out that we knew we wanted to start at about 50 cents. That looks a lot like my bar graph right there. Okay, now I can't see how tall it is, so what I might have to do now, let's see if this will work. Let's try menu, let's do zoom, and let's do zoom data, option 2. What zoom data will do is it will adjust the y-axis to accommodate your tallest bar. So now, if you take your mouse and you just kind of scroll over it, you'll notice it's now telling you that this bar goes 0.5 to 1. Now, notice your interval notation. It says 0.5 with a bracket. I'm going to write that down here. And then it says comma 1.0 with a parenthesis. So it's saying include the 50 cents, but don't include the dollar. We're back to that left end inclusion rule. And it says there's an end size of 4. So their bar matches ours. Scroll over to the next one. We're going from $1, now the dollar's included, up to $1.50. 7. Yup, that matches ours. 3. There's a blank, there's a 2, and a 1. So you have a plan. You still have to kind of have a plan of what you want the scale to look like. But once you have that plan, then you can let the calculator draw it for you, and you then can kind of skip this whole thing. Now on the AP exam, you would still have to then take this and draw it on your paper. But at least you don't have to go through all the tally marks, counting up the frequencies, and so on. This does a lot of the hard work for you.